In New York, one morning I was sitting in Central Park, one of my favorite morning places to perch up and get the sun. And in a meditation, it came to me and it hit. I was like, the understanding and the recognition for what I will do on this planet in this lifetime will most likely be really understood and acknowledged and appreciated after I'm gone. And the experience I had was actually relief. It was like the biggest permission slip where you would think maybe I'd actually be like, oh, that's freaking sad. Oh, no one's gonna understand me. No, it was relief. It was liberation. So it really allowed me a space of, okay, I don't need to continue to release more and more this need for external hoorays and validations and approval. Where it's like, cool, no one's going to understand it. It's proved wrong. People appreciate and I receive acknowledgments. However, I don't need it. It gave me like, oh girl, blaze on. Do your fire. Wreak positive havoc in the world and be gone. And it's okay. People might not understand it until years, decades, generations later. And that was very liberating. Kelly Keefe. I'm a Reiki master teacher, transformation coach. I've been in the world doing many things for many years in this physical form. And also really excited where I started to finally bring books that have been alive in my heart into the world in 2019. The latest novel hitting major bookstores in September, and now supporting many people in writing their books. I have a love for words, so bringing that into the world and understanding the power of our words create our story, and we can change our worlds through story as well.
What's the name of the book?
The book is She, it's actually right behind me here. It is a novel, the story of a woman in new beginnings, trusting her intuition, stepping into the unknown, and what can begin to unfold from there.
Thank you very much for allowing me the privilege of looking into your chart. I see evolutionary astrology and the importances of what your soul signed up for. And I want to say that evolutionary astrology represents a profound shift from fortune telling. This is not about fortune telling. This is about a deeply psychological and soul-centered understanding of human development. That's the difference between looking at a snapshot versus watching a movie of someone's life. Where traditional astrology might say, you are this way, evolutionary astrology asks, why did your soul choose to learn through these particular patterns? And where is this journey taking you? The core premise rests on the idea that our souls incarnate with specific evolutionary intentions and lessons that we've come to master, karma we've come to resolve, and gifts we've come to develop. Your birth becomes a map, not just of personality traits, but of your soul's curriculum for this lifetime. The chart will show you the choices you have, not the choices you will make. So instead of being trapped by astrological fate, you become the conscious co-creator of your evolutionary journey. When someone understands, and I've got many clients now who understand that their challenging aspects represent growth opportunities as distinct from permanent limitations. They can work with their chart as a tool for conscious evolution rather than feeling victimized by cosmic forces. Looking into your chart, Kelly, this is a fascinating case study. And I see this in every single chart. Every chart is so unique. Your chart literally reads like a cosmic instruction manual. The title I would put to it was How to Revolutionize Healing While Making Money Doing It.
Amen. Right? There's the mission.
Right? I see that you were born on September the 11th, 1989. Someone with this birth date carries the archetypal weight of transformation through crisis, which is either perfect cosmic timing or the universe's idea of a very intense welcome to Earth gift. What's intriguing about your chart and the astrological makeup, it mirrors the mission as you being the founder of the heart space with the precision of a Swiss watch. If Swiss watches were made by mystical beings who really understand personal branding, we're looking at a Virgo sun with a Capricorn moon, which is the cosmic equivalent of getting Martha Stewart's attention to detail combined with the CEO's strategic vision. It's the ultimate blend of, I will perfect this healing modality down to the last crystal placement, and then I'll build a sustainable business empire around it. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to look hindsight in the journey of trusting the path, trusting the intuitions of the end of freshman year of college. I went into college, education in anthropology, and 250 pounds. And at the end of freshman year, it was like a light switch. Looking back, hindsight, I believe it was God and the guides being like, all right, turn the on switch. Time for her to start to remember and start to switch to the track for her and her becoming of who we've destined her to be and get on mission. It was one day, I wish I could say it was like an actual experience, but it was just literally felt like a light switch, Peter. Okay, I'm changing my major from education anthropology to business management. I'm going to start working out every day. I radically changed my diet, and poof, the transformation began that unfolded into appealing modalities, etc. So I found entrepreneurship got put into my lap by following this and having my first startup company right out of school in a wholesale retail company and starting to understand, wow, I actually like this. I really find entrepreneurship to be synonymous to spirituality. There's an understanding of something that you can't see yet is going to exist. There is a having to trust your intuition and keep walking in the unknown without being able to see something. And it grows you, and there's challenges, but you transform within yourself. Then there's fruit on the other side. Getting to see that and taking steps deep into my spirituality and my remembering more and more. Now, I love it. I'm also a projector in human design. I have the gift of being able to see and then, oh, let's just build this. Here's the system. That's so obvious to me in certain spaces. I'm not an end all be all, know it all, but there's times when someone's sharing, hey, this one challenged with for my business, or hey, I want to do this. I'm just like, cool, just do it, and let's do that. And so I work with several women right now. It's cool, let's build you a six-figure business doing the work that God destined you to do because it's the age of Aquarius. That's what we're here to do. People are ready for it, people need it, and people are starting to see this is something worth investing in. We can do it in a way that redefines what business means. It's not transactional. We can do business in a very heart-centered way and practice what we teach.
Beautiful. That's so well said. When you look back at your journey from establishing the heart space in 2016 to now and coaching hundreds of people towards fearless living, did you feel like you always knew you were meant to serve others? Or was that the moment when this calling became undeniably clear to you?
Yeah, it was from a young age. I remember I was the generation that grew up without the internet, but also grew up with it. So we had that interesting space when it became a thing. I was always the one sitting there, and people would come to me, tell me their problems. I didn't know why I had the wisdom and the right thing to say. And big parts of my own growing was to start to learn how to not put everyone before myself. My mom would say all the time, I remember I was working out at the gym and a friend needed a ride, and I stopped everything and went to get them. And she was like, you don't have to serve everyone at all times. You should be a therapist when you grow up. Maybe go to school for psychology. Hindsight's interesting. My path was what it was meant to be because I'm here to bring spirituality and business sector together. It was always in my blood. People always were sharing their problems with me. I always had some sort of wisdom for them to provide deep levels of caring. I'm on the HSP, highly sensitive person. For those who don't know, on the HSP scale, I'm insanely high. So that's always been there. I always thought I was going to be a teacher. I thought in the school system, I'll be a teacher and be in that space. That's always where I thought I was going with it. It was once the understanding of the healer came, the download of look up healing modalities, you're a healer. I Googled it, clicked on Reiki, the energy rippling through my body. 3 days later, from Facebook suggested person to teacher sitting in front of me within 20 minutes, that's when it started to be, oh, and I started to receive visions of it. Not forcing it. For me, there's times, of course, intentionally creating and setting intentions and visualization is a very powerful tool in our creations. But there's been a very specific vision of a future season of my life that has been given to me again and again in meditations and times in a conversation. A flash of it will come to let me know I'm on the right. Go this way, it's going to bring you towards that.
Were those moments of aha, or was it where you realized the universe was dropping hints about your path with all the subtlety of a neon sign?
Depends on the moment. There's also been moments of, oh, I understand, or like fear of being like, whoa, okay, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to build this. Oh, there's going to be this attention. Because I'm a very private person. I'm a hermit. I'm a Virgo and a projector, human design 2-5. I am so happy in my own little space, doing my thing. Also, there's been a lot of awareness of, okay, this is here. There's times that it's a very subtle, the synchronicities or letting something go, a conversation around the same thing, or people asking for support in the same way. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a season to support in that way again. It really varies. Life would be boring if it was always the exact same way.
I'd like to talk to you about your moon placement. This is
Sure.
about your emotions, your emotional blueprint. Your moon is in Capricorn. This is the foundation builder's journey. This tells the story of a soul who came into this lifetime to master emotional authority and create lasting foundations. But your chart reveals you're not just here to achieve and control, you are here to revolutionize what emotional security actually means, both for yourself and for the collective. Now, the heart of your emotional nature, I looked at your chart, moon is at 25 degrees Capricorn in your fourth house. Your emotional security is fundamentally tied to having solid foundations in your home, family structures, and your sense of inner authority. You may have experienced early emotional maturation, taking on adult responsibilities before you were truly ready. Does that resonate with you?
Oh, very much.
That wasn't a mistake and it wasn't a tragedy. It was your soul's way of developing the emotional strength and wisdom you came here to share. But what makes this chart extraordinary is you have a rare stellium, a cluster of planets in Capricorn in your fourth house, the fourth house representing home and security. So Moon, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all clustered together. So this means you're not personally rebuilding emotional foundations. You are part of a generational mission to revolutionize how society understands emotional security, family structures, and personal authority. Your moon conjunct Saturn gives you incredible emotional discipline and the ability to mystically self parent. But it may also mean you struggle to access spontaneous joy or playfulness because your moon conjunct Uranus can bring very sudden emotional insights and the need for freedom within structure. So your moon with Neptune adds this spiritual depth and intuitive wisdom to your practical nature. This is a little bit about your emotional body. Does any of that resonate with you?
Yeah, there's pieces of it for sure. I like to say advanced healer, advanced curriculum. And I'm so blessed to be able to remind others. So, if you're listening, it's a reminder if anything we go through truly is for us to fulfill our soul curriculum, individual one, but also to be able to help someone in the future. There's not too much that can walk through my door that I'm surprised by, that I can't have deep compassion for because I've been through it or someone close to me's been through it. We're really beginning to understand through the inner work, copious amounts of trainings and teachings, and sitting with elders around the world, and then facilitating and moving through, really continuing to remember of, okay, not a victim, victor of this experience, and then being able to see months later, years later, a decade later, sitting down next to somebody and someone going through something and being able to have not sympathy, but compassion for what they're going through to be able to say, wow, I will never say I know how you're feeling because that's your own experience, but I can say, I understand the experience you're going through because I've been through something similar. And it opens a space for really being able to be so deeply present and compassionate for another person. I grew up with a lot of adversity. I'm someone who continues to unpack complex trauma. I took on a lot of responsibilities, a lot of maturity, and being the parent in the household quickly. Really understanding and formulating that relationship with my inner masculine, my inner feminine, my inner mother, my inner father, and inner child, and really playing in that parts work allows that to come through. I think a big part of my journey where I'm very playful. That's one of my superpowers. I was on an improv team. I
Ah,
still do improv. I do stand-up comedy. And play for me, I say play the angel's way. So that is one of my superpowers. There's research that shows many people who go into comedy or ever clown is associated with a lot of trauma in their younger years, which becomes again a superpower. So that piece, not so much. Very spontaneous, very playful. And I can also, cool, I'm here for the mission. Definitely find myself in relational dynamics in different spaces that challenge what is a traditional setup and forces me to continue to work on a curriculum to advance my spiritual, emotional regulations and being able to expand that for sure.
intuitively, I get the sense that your mind is an instrument of harmony and relationship and doesn't think necessarily in straight lines, but thinks in webs of connection, always considering multiple perspectives simultaneously. I get the sense your process is fundamentally relational and that you're better placed when you can bounce ideas off others and explore different viewpoints and find the connective threads between seemingly opposing concepts. It seems like your mind naturally seeks synthesis as distinct from analysis in isolation. Would that be correct?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all having a human experience. I find the concept of beliefs fascinating. Talk about probably like a month or two, I found myself just migrating to contemplation on the concept of beliefs. What makes a belief? And how does one know? It's so fascinating to study the human experience and what makes a belief. And how quickly we can believe something and hold it with such fervor, but then also know at any moment it can change. And then believe another belief so strongly. Knowing that and playing in contemplations of that, I love to be able to look at, cool, I completely honor and respect your perspective right now, and that's your belief. I know there are so many sides of different things based off of the different filters we may have on any given situation at any given moment. What part within me? Is it my inner child? Is it my inner teenager? Is it my higher self? Is it a mix of both that's looking at the situation? At the end of the day, we're all just human. We're all on a journey, and there's so many different ways to look at it because I believe there's two paths that we're on, our own personal soul growth and curriculum and our collective mission. Both are happening simultaneously. I can't judge your soul curriculum and your part of the mission, and here's mine, and there's so many ways. Does it drive me crazy sometimes? Because I can see so many angles where my partner will say all the time, I'm like, you're being too nice in this. I can see the different perspectives. I know where that's coming from, and I have such a deep compassion where I can see, okay, that's why that's there. We're all here doing the thing and permission to change at any time. I always like to look at everything with as many angles so I can come in as neutral as possible on anything, know my own stance on things, and not have a problem holding a boundary of what's my yes, what's my no. But in any given conversation, creating that safe space where whatever you want to say is safe here and no one needs to defend or debate the other side. It can all exist at the same time.
I hear you saying on the one hand, but on the other hand, or I can see both sides, sense that your thinking includes those multiple perspectives and the structure of your thoughts follows diplomatic architecture.
It's funny, first day of school, like those projects you do in elementary school, there's one from, I want to say, fourth grade. And it's like, when I grow up, I want to be the first female president. And I came across that many years ago and I was like, oh, girl, you have no idea what you're asking for there. But no thanks. But it's that space of knowing where it's genuine, though. I think that's something that we really get to continue to look at. Age, authenticity can be felt. And that's something why spiritual, business, conscious leaders it hits different in the world and it's going to continue, especially as AI continues to advance. You can feel someone when they're speaking with heart. You can feel someone being really authentic to who they are, and that's magnetic.
Mm.
And so, as we're going deeper into the spaces of creating a space where it's authentic, it's not cool being diplomatic because I want to be everyone to like me. It's from a space of no, there's a perspective of it can all exist. And it can be something as I run a book club here, and something as safe as cool in the book club, one person can be like, I hated the end of this. And you want to be like, cool, love that. Anyone else? Cool. Who here liked it? It's those smaller scale spaces to continue to practice that, like, it can all exist at the same time. We live in a world that loves polarity. I'm right, you're wrong. Or maybe you just have different experiences and perspectives at play. And that's okay.
Do you build ideas like you would broker peace between different parties carefully, considerately, and with attention to fairness and aesthetic appeal? Are you uncomfortable with harsh intellectual edges or overly aggressive reasoning styles? Get the sense your mind craves balance and elegance in ideas, and you may reject conclusions that feel too extreme, even if they're logically sound. Would that be a fair comment?
I'd say a bit. With the spaces that we get to grow and improve, God tends to give an opportunity. Dating an engineer gives that opportunity of the cosmic humor of engineer meets abstract. So being able to find the common ground. There may be logic behind something, and there's more than what meets the eye. As someone who lived almost a decade of just complete in the surrender of cool, there's been several times I woke up and it was cool. I have to book a flight to Austin. And 2 days later, I was on a flight to Austin. And I was like, what's in Austin? Why am I going? And it's just, you'll find out on the other side. I packed up my life into 2 suitcases and moved to Costa Rica and didn't tell anybody. I ended up building a whole world down there for myself and now hold retreats there and some of my dearest friends. It didn't make logical sense. There's nothing logical to prove why that would be correct, but it's there. The deeper I go into holding more responsibility, building business, there's been a grounding nature that I've matured into of cool, but that works. That's helpful. But when it comes to making decisions, it's just pick this path or this path. I personally don't resonate with that. There's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and something may change or something's going to drop in. So let's weave. It's not just cool, pick a path and go. And that's something that, whether I'm working with visionary leaders, I'm working with entrepreneurs, it's that space of great, let's start to make a foundation and a roadmap. And also know it could change at any given. Let's check in you're building with the business, but also go back and review what are your core values? What are you most excited about? Because just like you're saying with evolutionary astrology, we're always evolving and
Mm.
changing. So, what is a core value in this season may not be the top five of my core values in the next season, which is good because it means something's changing and growing and needs more focus and attention. So, yeah, I think it comes from that space more of understanding the human experience, loving the human experience, being someone where I'm completely different every year in so many ways. Being able to make things so black or white is too linear. Healing's not linear. Our human experience isn't linear. It's cyclical and expansive. I kind of challenge that piece on more of a capital T truth.
I can see decision making could be a challenge because you've got Mercury in Libra. As you described, you generally see merit in multiple options. Your intellectual strength lies in your ability to understand nuance and complexity. The shadow side is this gift can also create paralysis if you're forced to choose. This is important. There can be a need for external input or a relationship context to help crystallize decisions. In communication, you naturally adjust your intellectual presentation to your audience, not from manipulation, but because you have an intuitive understanding that effective communication requires harmony between speaker and listener. You excel at translating, between different communication styles and finding common ground with your sun in Capricorn. This provides a more structured, practical energy, but your Mercury in Libra, how you structure your thinking, creates a really interesting dynamic because your deeper self, your sun, seeks precision and service. Your emotional nature needs concrete achievement and recognition, but your thinking process requires beauty, balance, and relational context to function optimally. So I would suggest you are someone who can be highly effective in collaborative environments where precision and beauty can coexist.
Absolutely. I think that's the space where I'm fortunate that the collective is getting ready for that. When we break that down of cool, eloquently said, what does that mean? Let's take the precision of what was just said, beautifully said. Now let's Capricorn it. Now let's build it. What does that mean? Cool. It's creating heaven on earth. Looking at it from a concept of harmony, grace, getting along, and allowing things to be with more flow. This comes in with spaces of executive coaching and corporate wellness that I'm doing. Hey, you're bottlenecking, you're feeling so stressed. Okay, talk to me. How do we cultivate more harmony within your own inner story in the words that you're speaking? Our words create worlds. Okay, let's look at what's happening there. Where can we find some micro shifts that can be made so that throughout the day there's more harmony? Great. Within leadership coaching, how do we become a more effective leader? So that way we're not looking at someone as numbers and profits, but looking at them as a human being. How do we bring the heart into heart-centered leadership? And so that way we can create more harmonious team dynamics that creates that cohesiveness. I love building a team and working with teams to help them optimize synergy amongst you all because as a result, productivity and profitability will increase if it's the right people for the job. It's really being able to play within those dynamics and remembering it's people first. And really, we're in a time where the collective's ready for it. People who've neglected their inner world, they're starting to realize I can't do that anymore. People are really seeking more of this wellness and saying, hey, I'm a person before a job. Cultures are having to change to be able to say, whoa, what does that mean? How do we meet our people and give them what they need so they actually show up to work and do it? Being able to communicate what can seem as complex experiences. Cool. Lay it on me, and then be able to regurgitate it back in a very simple, refined way. And people saying, yes, you see me, you get it. It's like, yes, I do see you. I do get it. It's complex, yet it's also simple. That's the cosmic humor, the irony of it all. It all seems really complex, but the cosmic humor is it's all extremely simple. But because we're human, it's hard for us to accept that it's all really simple. And so the simple solution or the simple way of looking at it, the brain wants to reject, but it's all very simple. So being able to articulate that back and take the human experience, spiritual creation, entrepreneurship, writing and publishing a book, these things that seem so complex and unfathomable, but being able to then articulate it down into a way that can hit the soul and being able to know the way to navigate languaging with 20,000 hours of NLP and subconscious rewiring. How can we articulate in a way that it can land? So way after the conversation, something shifts. And it's like, I don't even know what just happened. I just got mind judoed, but I feel better. I'm more productive. I feel less fear. I'm creating things. And that's the sweet spot.
That's so beautifully said. What happens around 2018, 2020 in your life?
Living in New York, building the heart space, India, Guatemala, getting initiated by Mayan elders, and going full time into the heart space.
This is your first Saturn return.
Hmm.
That's a maturation point. It can be a period of intense restructuring in your life. It's career changes, relationship endings, or deepenings, or major shifts in how you understand your sovereignty, your authority, your responsibility. You're now in the integration phase where you're learning how to apply the emotional mastery you've developed to your north node. That's your evolutionary growth edge of innovative creative expression. So you're being asked to trust that the solid internal foundation and the inner potency that you've built can support more experimental, unconventional forms of self-expression.
Beautiful.
You have a natural gift for emotional leadership and creating structure. Where I may see the struggle with being seen as too controlling. So your lesson might be in learning to wield authority with warmth and flexibility, which I'm sure you do anyway. Your North Node is in Aquarius in the fifth house. That suggests your creative expression needs to be innovative and slightly ahead of its time, and not to worry if others don't immediately understand your creative vision. In essence, you are cultivating the soil and planting the seeds for future collective understanding.
Absolutely.
Okay. Does that resonate with you?
Oh yeah, there's been a couple Christmases where I look around and from roofie masters, Reiki masters, this and that, just wild of just the tables I'm blessed to sit at. And I had a dear brother, we caught up a couple months ago, and it's just dropping, you're always ahead of the curve. You're always a trailblazer. I love that. When I started the heart space, I had already been practicing Reiki for some time at this point. I had 4 years of practicing and transformation and change at play. 2016 is when I officially established it and started to put it outward facing. I remember sitting in rooms and starting a talk or a workshop and saying, who here knows what Reiki is? And there'd be a couple hands. And now, if I go into a room, who here knows what Reiki is? Every single person. It's gone mainstream. And it's beautiful to see. And I would probably say 5 years ago or so, as it started to gain popularity, it got to my inner growth where the rock of like my significance factor, right? The human six basic needs, it is what it is. Significance is one of them. Welcome to our operating system. Where I started to be like, wait, that's what made me special. No one knew what it was, but I was like, oh, I've done my job. I was a part of that group of bringing that to the collective. It had already been happening way before me. Not saying I'm the one. There's a group of us at that time building a momentum to now a poof, mainstream. And it always is. There's this, I'll create something, move it ahead, and then see the collective at large is doing this. And I'm not the only one. There's groups of us for any given creation doing that. But there is that knowing. I'll share this story. In New York, one morning I was sitting in Central Park, one of my favorite morning places to perch up and get the sun. And in a meditation, it came to me and it hit. I was like, huh, the understanding and the recognition for what I will do on this planet in this lifetime will most likely be really understood and acknowledged and appreciated after I'm gone. And the experience I had was actually relief. It was like the biggest permission slip where you would think maybe I'd actually be like, oh, that's freaking sad. Oh, no one's gonna understand me. No, it was relief, it was liberation. So it really allowed me a space of, okay, I don't need to continue to release more and more this need for external hoorays and validations and approval. Where it's like, cool, no one's going to understand it. It's proved wrong. People appreciate I receive acknowledgments. However, I don't need it. It gave me like, oh, girl, blaze on. Do your fire. Wreak positive havoc in the world. Poof, and be gone. And it's okay. People might not understand it until years, decades, generations later. And that was very liberating.
You reminded me of saying my late father used to say to me when I was much younger and full of ego and wanted to be the center of attention and created lots of drama. He would say to me, it's not always happening where the applause is. At the time, I didn't really understand it, but now you triggered that memory. And that's so true, is that there are people like yourself who are doing these things that are ahead of its time and having that permission slip. It doesn't matter that there isn't this applause. You're doing it for something much, much bigger. It's what I call the pebble and the boulder analogy, where some people will throw a boulder into a mirror-like calm pond and it creates a big splash and there's all these ripples. And then soon ripe, soon rotten, it goes back to its surface, calm, mirror-like image. But if you start putting pebbles in consistently, small pebbles, then you do create ripples, but the ripples start reinforcing the other ripples. And as they reinforce the other ripples, they coalesce and they create an interference pattern with each other. And they keep reinforcing and reinforcing each other because you're quietly putting those pebbles in consistently.
Yes, so good. It's the together we thrive. I think
Yeah.
when we look at it from there's statistically, and I would be so fascinated. I think I'm inspiring myself of a rabbit hole to go on in my next deep dive because statistically, they've shown they're able to see when a woman steps deeper into her power and that empowerment and starts to move with a sense of sovereignty. And in that sense of power, 10 women in her proximity are also going to step into it. So when we see that, of being able to know, okay, every time. So if someone's listening, if there's something on your heart, a message, you want to write a blog post, you want to make a video, it doesn't need, we live in the world now of, oh, how many leaks did you get? Did it go viral? Did it do this, do that? My question is, did it touch somebody? Did it change their life? Did they hear something, say, wow, I really needed to hear that? And the beautiful thing is, we don't know. I ended up having a discovery call with a woman that I went to college with. She's wanting to write a book. She saw us running, the writer's circle. So we hop on. It's been years. So exciting to reconnect with her in this way. And she said to me, by the way, I'm meeting up with a whole bunch of girls I went to college with that sophomore year. We started going our own ways. And I was just, oh my goodness, how they doing? She's like, they're great. I told them we're getting on this call with you. We're all so excited. Just to let you know, everyone's been following you over these years. It's amazing what you're doing. And it hit me. There's so many people who are seeing the impact that we're making in the world. We're just living an authentic God mission. We have no idea who's actually seeing or reading or listening to anything that we create, but it's impacting them. It may not shift something radically in their life that day, but even if it's that's possible. Look, wow, they're living really authentically. They're really doing their thing. And it plants seeds. Like you said, it's a pebble, right? Like, cool, a pebble in the pond. That's possible. You can actually do that. And it can grow into that momentum. We've created such a society that does everyone approve? My question is, does God approve? Did God say, go do this? Are you being obedient? Are you clear of your vision and your mission this lifetime? And if you do that, you're good. Mountains will move. You'll be taken care of. And that's all that really matters.
Years ago, it was if you conform, you get confirmed. All those boxes get checked off. And then the applause is, oh, isn't he doing well? It's that whole thing of you go to school, you get an education, you absorb all of your parents' culture and beliefs or not, but usually you're inculcated in some way with these core beliefs. Then you grow up in a society that is designed for you to fulfill an economic imperative, get the white picket fence, the 2.2 kids, marriage, and so on. And then retirement or the ebbing phase, the tide is going out. The tide's not coming in anymore, so you're not splashing around in the surf. And then you lose consciousness and die. That story may be part of the Piscean age, the last 2,160 odd years. But in the Aquarian age, it's a new paradigm. It's a whole new lens. If you don't put the lens on, you're not going to get a picture. And that's why I look through an evolutionary lens. In terms of what I see in you, you are playing your participant part as an obedient servant to what your soul signed up here to do. You can't go wrong with that kind of intentionality and commitment and the projection of what your soul is organizing and propelling you to do without the external validation, but by building the inner stability and the external equilibrium.
Absolutely. I love teaching many things, but there's something so special still after all these years, Teaching a level one Reiki, oh, it just hits like no other. I just had 5 new students on Friday, and every time getting to go back into building the foundations of the practice. Within a level one attunement, we're changing the baseline frequency and learning how to hold this new level of energy and self-practice every day. It's so transformational over those 21 days. It's not just Reiki, it's a lifestyle. Living by these principles of just for today. Don't worry about yesterday. Yesterday was a bleep show. Tomorrow, we'll see. Just for today, I do not worry. And just for today, I do not fear. I'm going to honor my parents, my teachers, my elders. I'll make my living honestly, and I'll show gratitude for everything. Just for today. By walking with energy that's pure God force, always conspiring for the highest good of all, it allows for a little bit more of a, I can trust whatever's happening. Because if something doesn't go the way that I want it to go, there's a softening in knowing it's happening the way that's for the highest good of all. That's really all I want. Because I know if it's happening for the highest good of all, that means it's also happening for my highest good. Therefore, it's looking out for me and what's best for me. And so I can relax into it more. That does not mean there's not moments that I'm human, y'all. There's still moments where I can be like, ooh, my human is doing that human thing right now. She's bugging out. But there's still that strong spiritual pillar being able to like, but all is well. Deep down, this is all happening exactly how it needs to. And how it's happening is for the highest good of all. So go ahead, process the emotions, energy, emotion, do what you got to do, go get it out, and let's keep on keeping on.
Something that's come up for me around the wounded healer in your early years, did you learn that showing sensitivity was unsafe, leading you to overdevelop a more serious, competent side?
I was extremely emotional. I feel big. I feel
Hmm.
the joy so good. And when I feel grief or I feel the challenging emotions, I feel them big and I feel them deeply. I experienced some traumas at a young age that I also had to suppress and to hide from others, and was made fun of for my sensitivities. And all the way through adolescence, I was the one in the house. I was not afraid to be like, this is not okay. I was very vocal, but those emotions tend to get me in deeper trouble. So yes, it's been a really big rewiring on emotions are safe. And there's still times of an experience happening in the external world that will give the opportunity for suppressed emotions I didn't realize are still stuffed in there from childhood or adolescence, because it was cool. It was put on the face, all is well. For a lot of my life before I went to college and started to really remember who I am and say, cool, I have sovereignty. I'm going to create my life on my terms. I really lived almost like a double life. In the home, it was challenging. My defense mechanism was to pretend to sleep. Little did I know I was actually putting hours upon hours of meditation under my belt because I was still very awake, but I was just slow, long, deep breathing, hitting these different places, hitting colors, and doing the whole nine. And so I was depressed and miserable and just sleeping away the day to try to get through. And then when I was out in the world, I was so happy. And I was the humor and this and that, but it was genuine because I loved life and I was so happy to be anywhere other than home. So it was sincere and I loved life, but I also lived in a dynamic out of my control as a child and adolescent. When I went back into that house, I was a different person in some ways. And so I had learned how to mask it. And I learned a belief of what happens in this house stays in this house. We don't talk about this with other people.
Today, does that wound involve being seen as emotionally vulnerable in public or professional settings?
How do you mean?
You've got Chiron in Cancer in your 10th house,
Sure,
which is about wounding and healing. I was wondering, because of early sensitivity,
sure.
did that translate into a wound that involved being seen as emotionally vulnerable in public or professional settings?
For some time, yeah, I think they're
Hmm.
so blessed to say probably 3 years ago, there was a recognition and realizing so many people put me on this pedestal because one, I was a hermit. Two, I devoted so much time to my spiritual development and traveling and these initiations of all these different elders and esteemed, very prestigious, high ranking, yada yadas, where it was sincere, but also it started to make me unrelatable to people. And I really started to see that there was a space where it really hit for me. I was like, something has to change where I want to be knocked off this pedestal. I'm so grateful I did it before the Aquarian age really kicked off. So it's about to happen for everyone anyway. At least I chose to step off of it. Other people are about to get humbled real fast. Being able to hit the space where a student of mine came to one of my events. He ended up connecting with another friend of mine. He wove into the community, which is great. That's my goal. Together we thrive. Again, that's the whole goal. Get back to the crew. However, I noticed when I went to one of the community events where that nourishes me. Those are my people. That's where I can put down any mask or be the teacher. It's a group of equals and they can pour into me, I can pour into them. I noticed with his presence there, he was looking at me through the filter. Oh, my teacher's here. Oh, Kelly's here. I started to notice I can't be myself. That's not okay. There needs to be an understanding of we can wear different hats and we can wear different roles at different times, but it really started to make me realize, whoa, I'm on a pedestal to a lot of these different people, and I'm still a human. Yes, I'm blessed. My soul is very old. I've devoted so much time and energy and passion into the skills that have allowed me to obtain mastery in many different things. And I'm very good at what I do. I can say that with so much confidence and cool. Lives change. So it's not me anyway, it's God moving through. So I really started to acknowledge to him and then to other people that reminder of, hey, I'm human. Yes, I'm a leader in this, and yes, I can do this. And just remember that I have my own challenges. I slowly started to level the playing field. And the biggest breakthrough for me was holding a year-long leadership retreat in Costa Rica and then a monthly check-in with everybody. There was one time we were going to meet and I was in it. It was just a week of oof. I was in the field. I had all the stuff coming up. I was crunchy. I was like, I have a choice. I can show up to this call right now, put on the stage face, and okay, how's everyone doing? And I'm doing great, this and that. Or I can show up and be authentic AF. And when we got on, we started going around. And when it came to my check in, I said, listen, I'm going to keep it really real, y'all. I'm not in a space to hold space for all of you right now and really teach anything. I'm more than happy if someone else has a specific topic that we want to talk about, bring it to the table and let's talk. If someone else wants to spearhead the conversation today, go for it. We're a group of leaders here. You all know how to lead. If someone else wants to take the baton today, please do. There was fear in me. So I'm like, whoa, I'm really taking myself off of being the leader and leading this call to really, hey, I'm going to show up so human. And the response from several people on the call and even weeks later saying, thank you so much for showing up so vulnerable and so real. That was a permission slip I didn't realize I needed as a leader. That it's okay. It doesn't make me less of a leader if I'm having bad days or if I'm in a season where I'm really just not feeling it, but still showing up, being able to show up however it is. It's allowing me to step deeper into things of leadership that I'm being asked for. I kept telling this program, I'm not healed enough to be able to step into leadership. And that was where it really started. I was just like, oh, no, authenticity is the way. Whatever emotion is there, within reason. Of course, I'm not going to blow up. If I'm feeling righteous anger, I'm not going to blow up on somebody. But there's a power in vulnerability, and I've had to learn that.
Thank you for sharing. One of the greatest immunities is being authentic. Immunity is not just physiological. That's beautiful. You're able to show up in that way and have that understanding. The reason I was asking you about this is because in family, remember that cluster of planets in your fourth house? It shows you carry responsibility for healing generational emotional patterns. So you may be the one in your family who breaks cycles of emotional unavailability or authoritarian control.
There's a whole lot of generational healing that I've been doing, my friend.
I can see that. In terms of the challenges and the opportunities there's a lot of balancing structure with innovation, and you're using your Capricorn emotional discipline to support Aquarian creative freedom rather than restrict it. Your Chiron placement, which is your public emotional leadership, suggests that you're meant to heal others by modeling emotional authenticity in professional public settings and reconnecting with playfulness and spontaneity and creative joy that may have been surpassed during your early emotional maturation. So the generational healing is using your hard-won emotional wisdom to help heal patterns and guide others through similar structural challenges. It's giving yourself permission to create without needing to be perfect or immediately useful, because your Aquarian growth edge needs space to innovate. I think this is part of the hermit thing as well, because it allows you space to become that agency of amplification, that clear channel that allows you to bring in this innovation. I see your authority becomes even more powerful when people can see your humanity.
Yes.
You're here to demonstrate that true emotional security comes from internal authority rather than external validation. That's a real strength because it includes vulnerability, and that lasting foundations can support innovative expression. So your journey from emotional over control to disciplined creativity doesn't just serve your own evolution, but helps to show others how to build lives that are both stable and authentically expressive. Your generation's Capricorn stellium carries the responsibility for rebuilding society's emotional and structural foundations. So you're not just healing your own patterns, you're contributing to the collective healing around authority, responsibility, and what it means to create security in an uncertain world.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I created the Ascended Business Mastermind, which is a program I support heart-led entrepreneurs in building a six-figure business, I built it and I was like, okay, cool, now what? It wasn't to be promoted. It wasn't to launch it. It sat there for 2 years. Built it out. Don't promote it. Nothing. Just it's created. Let it be. Then it's 2 years later, twice in a week. Someone said, "Do you do business coaching? Do you help people with business?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I guess I do now. Like it's built. I'm ready to go. Let's do it." And I love that you name that because it's an interesting time, right? The pendulum swing. As we know, when there's true change happening, we tend to go to the other side of the pendulum. It takes time to find that rebalance. Within that generation, we went from authority, structure, the old way, and so many swung to abandoning responsibility, structure, and the groundedness needed to thrive in the physical world. And let's find the middle ground. How do you get really clear of who is your authentic expression? What is that spiritual essence? What is your gift and your mission? You don't want to live in one place and get a mortgage? Cool, be a nomad. You can build something that works for you. There's a lot of value in the old systems that have been here and that still exist and extracting what is valuable within this. Let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's find what still works in it and blend it together. And that's that sweet spot of saying ascended business. How do we start to build something with that concrete knowing of business is business? I loved studying it, whereas like it's just taught me the way the world works, well, the way things are built and the systems that are there. So we can start to say, okay, how can we create refinement to the systems? We don't have to obliterate everything and start again. That's actually going to take a lot more time. How do we bring refinements to the existing systems and evolve them, just like we're gradually evolving more and more? You look back 10 years later and be like, wow, look at me. The same thing's available here. So it's really being able to look at how can we merge it together and be able to say there's value in the groundedness and the structure and the discipline and all those things that so much of the rebellious nature wants to run away from. And that's that sweet spot of looking at how do we create conscious, heart-led business which I love doing. I love seeing someone thrive in their truth. We got to apply some of the old models and frameworks and gifts that are there for us. But we just got to plug and play and find your sweet spot. You can thrive in your truth. Let's do it. You can do it.
Absolutely. I'm seeing more and more business owners, and obviously I'm talking from an evolutionary astrology
Yeah.
lens with archetypal psychology, using it as a tool to help them know and understand themselves. When they humanize that into application, they have a far better grip on the decisions, the choices they make. It's quite incredible. I've got so much feedback from many people using this mode, which has many aspects. It's like the hub of a wheel with all the spokes coming off. What's also interesting in your Saturn return is that Saturn sits at 7 degrees in Capricorn in your fourth house. Saturn is at home, it's in its home sign of Capricorn. It's like a master craftsman who knows where they put their tools, which is rare in the cosmic construction business. Placed in the fourth house of home, family, and emotional foundations, I would contend that your Saturn return lessons were deeply connected to rebuilding your sense of security and belonging from the ground up. Think extreme home makeover, but for your soul. So it's almost like a universal renovation for your soul. And you established the heart space in 2016, which means you're about 27. That's right in the pre-Saturn return zone when that cosmic pressure starts building like a spiritual pressure cooker. You know that feeling when you sense something big is coming, but you can't quite put your finger on it? That's pre-Saturn return energy. And it's about as subtle as a neon sign that says, major life changes ahead, buckle up, buttercup. It's that kind of thing. So that hit around that time, and the Heart Space Healing Academy had just opened. You were in the thick of expanding your work from individual sessions to systematic training programs. And what I'm hearing is Saturn looked at you and said, oh, so you want to help people heal? Adorable. Now, let me show you how to build an empire around it. So the Saturn return coincides with the expansion of the heart space into an academy, which is either incredible cosmic timing or proof that you're secretly psychic. And so during those years, did you feel like the universe was putting you through some kind of intensive crash course in stepping into your authority as a teacher and leader?
Yes. It was initiation after initiation. It really began as soon as the first Reiki teachers popped up in my world. The process of whatever's needed just comes right to me. And it was cool finding myself at a cacao ceremony, not even knowing what it was. It wasn't even a public venue. It wasn't open to the public. I don't know how I got there at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. That leading to Guatemala, studying and getting initiated with Mayan elders, living in their house for 2 weeks. And then it was like these indigenous elders from all these different places find me in the wild, take me under their wing and be like, oh, I'm going to pray for you. Or, oh, you're now going to study with me. And I'm like, I am? And it just continued of this high voltage. Okay, we're going here in this initiation. You're going there and meeting. And yeah, there was a knowing. The greatest fear I still carry is not meeting my potential. There was always this deep knowing that I'm here for something big. And so there's always this pressure of, okay, let's go. The experiences just kept coming. This is what I know I need to do. I stepped into a corporate job for 9 months before I dipped off to India. And it was a one and only time. So remember, I went right into entrepreneurship out of school. But the first day, putting my hands down on the desk in a cubicle, I was like, whoa! But I stuck it out for 9 months and then off I went, always knowing it's not for me. I know I'm here to build something. I know I'm here to help people. And I know I'm here to help in healing. For a while, I was like, and I'm a healer. I now go more with I'm here to support people in their healing. That's very different to me. I think when we're a little bit younger in our spiritual understanding, we'll say, I'm a healer. I heal people. Whereas we grow, we understand that healer is someone who just holds space for someone else to heal. And I'm just a messenger. Hey, God wanted to give you this energy. Or hey, God wanted to give you this message. I'm just a messenger. I'm literally just like the lit man in this game.
Do you have any good stories about the chaos that Saturn returns are famous for. Did you have any moments where you questioned everything and considered becoming a professional beachcomber instead?
I think I played in that space for a while. I had a Saturn return hangover of still being like abort mission and just go live in the jungle. I did live in the jungle for some time, but I was still working. Still might go hide into the jungle at some point. No, at that same time, what was happening there, naming highlights of the activations and the maturation, continuing of that, but simultaneously moved into a new home in New York. I moved to New York on a whim, was in a relationship, got exposed to polyamory that destroyed me. That was not done with integrity. It was just me getting to learn that I was allowing people to treat me without respect. I was not loving myself. So it was a big lesson of heartbreak and trials and tribulations. So that breakup really brought me into rebuilding myself. I really let me lose my sense of self within all of that. Made a couple of unexpected moves in New York. I was doing what I like to call the New York shuffle, moving from one apartment to the next, trying to find my place. And that was when the call of travel really started to grow in me. I was also starting to gear up for what I would learn later would be 4 years of nomadic living. But if we're looking at the deeper piece, that relationship really made me question. It was my first time exposed to the understanding of non-monogamy, of polyamory and that concept. I was like, oh, this makes sense. I love a lot of people. Okay, this makes sense. But again, was done in a way that was not ethical and really just caused a lot of harm and hurt and trauma for me. So that really flatlined me and getting to rebuild
Mm.
myself and practice what I was teaching in healing, which led to leading my programs of permission granted and living in alignment and helping women step into their power and being able to say, no, that doesn't work for me. No, and be able to move on.
You know what's brilliant about your timing is you didn't wait for your Saturn return to force change upon you. You're already building the structure that your Saturn in Capricorn demanded. This shows you were intuitively aligned with your cosmic timing, even before consciously understanding it. You were cosmically surfing instead of getting knocked over by the wave. And the fact your healing work became more systematic and business oriented right during your Saturn return is textbook Saturn in Capricorn energy, because it's demanding that your gifts be taken seriously and structured professionally. Saturn said, no more playing small, time to build something that lasts beyond
Mm,
you. I want to briefly talk about what's coming next,
sure.
because this is where I see evolutionary astrology gets exciting, buckling up for more cosmic lessons. Saturn doesn't just visit once. This cosmic teacher has a whole soul curriculum planned out for you and for us, complete with
Mhm.
pop quizzes and final exams we didn't sign up for. Your second return is going to occur around 2047, 2048. And that's when it comes back around for the sequel, Think Saturn Return 2, the mastery years. By then, you'll have figured out what Saturn was trying to teach you the first time round, though knowing Saturn will definitely be some advanced coursework involved. What I'm intuitively seeing is you're currently approaching what's called your Saturn opposition, which happens around age 44, 45. This is when transiting Saturn sits directly opposite your natal Saturn, and it creates what we call in astrology, or we might politely call it the midlife crisis. I don't like that term. I like midlife clarification or cosmic
Nice.
performance review. I think that's a better term. It's basically showing up with a clipboard and saying, how's that whole becoming your authentic self project going? Because I've got
Mm,
some notes for you. The Saturn opposition is like a cosmic performance review halfway between Saturn returns. And it's when the universe asks you, how are you doing with those lessons from your first Saturn return? Are you actually living the life you built, or are you just going through the motions like a very accomplished robot? For
mm,
someone with Saturn in Capricorn in the fourth house, this opposition will likely bring up questions about legacy, family, and whether the structures you've built truly support your deepest emotional needs? Have you built a career or have you built a home for your soul? Knowing that you'll be facing your Saturn opposition in about 10 years, which sounds very futuristic and slightly apocalyptic. I hope it's not. How do you envision your work evolving?
Yeah, there's quite a bit. As I'm continuing to evolve, there's a lot of the undercurrent, the golden thread, right? Supporting people in finding their authentic voice and their authentic nature and helping them to liberate it. For the first time in a really long time, I'm not exactly sure of where it's all leading. The book hits major bookstores in September. That's going to open new doors and new experiences. There's more speaker stages that are dropping into my lap, so larger groups at any given time to share a voice and what wants to move through, and just continuing to allow it to grow and to expand as it's meant to. So it's actually interesting where if you would have asked me few years ago even, oh, I know by this time I'm going to have locations here. And if there's anything that God has really humbled me in over the last few years is you don't know. I know that the level of hearts and eyes and ears that are being brought my way is increasing. I know that the more authentic I'm growing and the more obedient I stay, the power in which the words that are coming out of my mouth are landing for people, which is allowing for the voice of God to be heard. I know that there's a lot more books coming out. I know there's a lot more stages coming and a lot more supporting people. What exactly that's going to look like in the physical, other than my frameworks of the different programs and this and that going, I don't know.
That's a really great starting point because this aspect is bringing up questions about legacy and what kind of lasting foundation you want to leave. That takes some thought because it's preparing you emotionally for what I like to call the Saturn midlife check in. The beauty of understanding your Saturn cycle is you can work with them rather than being blindsided by them. It's like having a cosmic weather forecast that helps you plan things. Saturn in the fourth house suggests that each Saturn cycle will subpoena you to go deeper into questions of belonging, nurturing, and what truly feels like home. This second return around 58, 59 will be about mastering the wisdom you've gained, possibly stepping into an elder teacher role where you're helping others navigate their own Saturnian lessons. By then, you might be the one writing the cosmic instruction manual for other healers facing their Saturn returns. They may not
Hmm,
word it that way,
sure.
but that's what comes up in my mind about it. The other thing I wanted to look at and discuss with you is the Virgo Capricorn Foundation. This is like a cosmic construction crew that built your personality. The universe assembled quite the dream team here. You've got your sun at 18 degrees Virgo and moon at 25 degrees Capricorn. So what does that mean? It means I'm looking at a soul who signed up for the ultimate apprenticeship in practical magic. And by practical magic, the kind that actually pays the bills and builds sustainable businesses. Virgo energy is all about refining, perfecting, and serving. It's the cosmic craftsperson who won't rest until every detail serves the highest good. People with this kind of placement may read instruction manuals for fun and actually enjoy organizing their spice racks alphabetically. Now, if you pair that with a Capricorn moon and you're someone whose emotional security literally comes from building lasting structures that can withstand the test of time, you may be someone who probably color codes your 5 year business plan and gets genuinely excited about quarterly reviews. I think this combination is absolutely fascinating. The Heart Space Academy, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't just happen overnight. It was methodically built, supporting over 250 students
Mm-hmm.
through systematic training programs. That is pure Virgo Capricorn mastery, taking the ethereal world of healing and creating reproducible teaching systems that actually work. So it's like taking unicorn magic and turning it into a certification program, which, let's be honest, today is exactly what the healing world needs.
Yep.
Your Virgo sun is all about service through perfection, while your Capricorn moon needs to build something lasting and respected. How do you balance that inner perfectionist who probably wants to refine your healing techniques until they're absolutely flawless with the practical need to get your work out into the world? Do you ever find yourself getting stuck in that thinking, that analysis paralysis of thinking just one more tweak and that'll be perfect? Or has the Capricorn moon taught you when good enough is actually perfect and it's enough to serve people?
Yeah, definitely the latter. I think being able to see being put into a position of having a startup company, wholesale retail, doing product development right out of college, taught me sometimes good enough is good enough. So I got conditioned with learning that through entrepreneurship very quickly because it was me and one other person. We were running everything, leading a global sales team and creating the sales materials and this and that and learning like good enough is good enough. And it taught me very quickly there's going to be mistakes. There will be a typo, and I can go back and change it. So good enough is good enough. I'd actually say I have to now, because there's so many plates spinning, or I actually have to bring myself back into, cool, yeah, good enough is good enough, but make sure that it's good enough for it to be good enough, if that makes sense. Sometimes like, cool,
Absolutely.
just post it. And it's like, no, don't send it off to the publisher yet. Let's actually like, do
Let's
another
tweak
run
it.
through. Yes.
My insight in terms of what's beautiful about your chart is your emotional foundation, your Capricorn moon supports your life purpose, your Virgo sun, rather than conflicting with it. Because many people struggle when their emotional needs fight against their soul's mission. If you've got a Cancer moon trying to support an Aries sun, which is independence, or a Gemini moon trying to focus on a Scorpio sun's depth, but your chart shows someone whose feelings are literally designed to fuel your ambition to serve. Your Capricorn moon is saying, build something that lasts. Your Virgo sun is saying, make it serve others perfectly. It's like you've got an internal business consultant who actually understands your vision. Here's where it gets even more interesting. It's a bit comedic in the most cosmic way. You've got three major players crowding into your first house, which is the house of personality and identity, Mercury, Venus, and your ascendant, all in Libra. For those keeping score at home, that's your communication style, your value system, and your entire approach to life, all filtered through the sign of balance, beauty, and diplomatic relationship building. But here's the cosmic joke. Libra is notorious for indecision. It sees every side of every argument for wanting everyone to get along. Yet you have built a business around helping people make bold, fearless decisions and to live authentically. So it's like the universe said, hey, let's give her the most relationship focused, harmony seeking energy possible, and then watch her teach people how to stop people pleasing and speak their truth. With all that Libra energy in your first house, I'm very curious. Do you find that your natural tendency toward diplomacy, seeing all sides, sometimes can conflict with your approach of helping people cut through the BS and live fearlessly?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, human. So anything I'm here to teach, it's because I've had to learn it myself first. There's a difference of knowledge. We live in a world of knowledge, right? Aquarian age. You can Google anything and have information. But what makes the difference of a powerful transmission of a teaching is experience applied to that knowledge that cultivates wisdom is what can really resonate into a soul and help somebody to see something, understand it, and change it. I've had to go through a lot of experiences to cultivate the wisdom that's there. I still get teachings on teachings of it. There is the piece of getting to go through the experience and realizing that at the end of the day, by us getting clear of those truths, by ending people pleasing, I've never looked at it this way consciously. A bit of my secret sauce is that I do love supporting in communication. So it's not just get clear of your yes or no, just start saying no and put up a boundary, walk away from this person. It's no, how do we articulate and deepen our relationships? At least present an opportunity to deepen and improve a relationship. Being able to say, give a quick example, hey, just so you know, I've actually been doing a lot of work on self-love and boundaries. And I've been realizing I'm working on people pleasing. I didn't even realize how much I was doing it. And so I might begin to say more often where places I used to say yes, I'm going to start saying no. And just know that it's actually really challenging and uncomfortable for me. But I want you to know that I'm doing this for my own self-love. And I'm happy to talk about it, but I would appreciate if you can respect that and understand it. And you might be challenged by it, but just know that it's something I have to do.
Beautiful.
Whoa. Now we're stepping in ourselves and we're amplifying the magnetism through the authenticity, the vulnerability, and learning that we don't have to cut people off by changing our internal world. We can actually create ways to bring them closer. We're creating that vulnerability, saying, hey, I'm working on myself. Hey, just a heads up, I'm going to be changing a pattern here. I'm going to be working on it. Ask for support in honoring and respecting it. Some people won't, and that's how you know, okay, it's time to create space, and they're not here for this next trail. They might be back, but there's ways to teach it and understand it in a way that it keeps us in harmony with love. Self-love doesn't have to mean no longer loving others. Self-love and understanding walking authentically with the intention of connection create space to lead by example for those in our world by radical honesty and vulnerability. And we have no idea how much it's going to start to have someone go, maybe I should start doing that in our work. That's available. And again, brings us right back to the golden thread of this conversation, the pebble in the water.
Yeah. And for listeners who might be struggling to understand their purpose or their purpose within their business or their leadership qualities, what advice would you give them about trusting their inner knowing, even when their path isn't clear?
Sure. I would give this visual. If you're trying to figure out what your purpose is, it's not a specific task, it's not a specific thing. I like to look at it as a diamond, right? You're a diamond. And at any given time, the light is going to be shown on a different aspect of the diamond. And when you shine the light in a different way, you're going to get a completely different color. So no matter what way it's showing up in the world, it's still always that same diamond, which is the purpose. So I coach a lot of people coming in. I need to figure out what my purpose is, and if I get into my purpose, then I'll be successful. It's cool, yes, but the purpose isn't okay, I'm going to coach this thing for these people. Get clear of what you're actually here to do. My purpose is to bring empowerment and activate authentic living in people. That's through writing a novel. At other times, it's speaking on a stage, leading a Reiki training. It's all these different things, writing my music album. It's so many different pieces. It's always the same diamond. So I'd invite you to get clear of the underlying theme of your essence, the medicine you're here to bring the collective. And then we can start to play with the whats and the hows.
Absolutely. I resonate with that. Whenever I'm looking at someone's chart, the first question I ask is, why were you given this chart? What is your soul signed up for? But it's the why. Why were you given this chart? And in closing, I want to say that your chart teaches us our greatest challenges often point towards our greatest gifts, because your cosmic blueprint shows us that when we align with our authentic purpose, the universe conspires to support us in ways we never imagined. Your journey from individual healer to transformation catalyst isn't just personal evolution, it's a template for how we can all step into our highest service. Kelly, do you have any parting words, and where can people find you?
I just want to express my gratitude. I think we've had a lot of gems where I'm excited to go back and listen to this episode myself. This has just been so fruitful and definitely a friendship in the making here, Peter. First of many longer conversations. So very excited for that. If anyone is interested in connecting, you can go to thekellykeefe.com If you're wanting to go specifically into the healing arts, you can check out heartspace.co, but just go to thekellykeefe.com. You'll get to everything else as well. Or you can email info@thekellykeefe.com and your message will find its way to me and I'll be able to get back to you. I would say just to remember your mission, the most common thing that we tell ourselves, it's been infiltrated into our programming to say, I don't know. I don't know. I'd invite you to just invite the human to exit stage left for a moment and ask your soul the question and really listen. It knows the answer. Allow yourself to tap deeper into that. Take a step.
Simple but profound counsel. There's a lot more to your chart. I've just picked out one layer of it, and there are many layers. I'd love to invite you back to do a deeper dive into it. This is a wrap on today's cosmic conversation. I want to stress this is a teaching aid. I learned something from your chart. It reminds me we're all here with a specific mission, as you've alluded to, and sometimes our greatest resistance points towards our greatest purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Amen.
Kelly.
Thank you so much, Peter. This has truly been a privilege and an honor.